So Tamara just cut her thumb while surfing, just on her surf fin, and she's there with the lifeguard right now. I'm just going to the beach to pick her up and bring her to the hospital.
I cut my hand.
Oh, Tam.
The fin, so sharp.
We're on our way to the ER just to get stitched up. And so yeah, let's get on it.
So the yellow one is traditionally used to arrange everything else.
And then you throw it out, and then you actually use.
We're gonna tell you what happened the day that Tamara split her hand open on her surfboard.
We had just finished our surf. It was getting kind of wavy and windy, and we were like, okay, let's head in. Pat had already ridden the wave in. I was riding in, and then I went to touch the ground to like walk and carry my board out of the water, but I couldn't reach. So then I got back on my board and paddled a little bit more. A wave pushed me a bit farther. Suddenly, I was on the shore and I didn't realize it, and I had hit this sandbar. And so I'm slamming into the sandbar, and my hand gets caught underneath my surfboard, and the fin just like slices my thumb right up. I immediately knew that there was something wrong. Obviously my hand was hurting, and so then I quickly look and there's some blood in the water, and my first thought was like, sharks. But I was on the shore, so I was okay. And then I look at my hand and I can see there's like definite like blood, some skin is peeled back, and lots of cuts on my hand. So I wasn't really sure what exactly the problem was. I saw a big flap of skin where my thumb, like just on my thumb knuckle, and I called out to Pat, Pat, I cut myself. And then he came back and he grabbed my board, and I said, listen, I'm gonna run because I feel like I need to get to the lifeguard right away. They were pretty far down the beach, and so I started booking it as fast as I could. I had all this adrenaline. Halfway there, I suddenly was like, I feel nauseous, I feel like I'm gonna pass out, and so I stop and I just crouch down in the sand.
And then I catch up to Tam and check in on her, and then start running over to the lifeguard just to get something to patch up her thumb and maybe have a quick look at it. So it was super hot running down the beach. It was a lot farther than I thought. Anyways, eventually got there. It was a really dangerous day for surfing. Apparently the lifeguard said he wouldn't be able to come because he was alone and he had to watch the spot where all the surfers were. He radioed one of his other lifeguard colleagues, and they came down and checked us out, and he also gave me some first aid stuff so that I could go and help pass over to the lifeguard and help wash Tamara's wound and just patch it up. We were actually surfing at a different beach than when we started off that morning. We were just across the rocks on the other side. So our car was actually parked about 1 kilometer away. So I was running back to the car. It was super hot. I had my wetsuit on. I eventually got there, got into some clothes, took my wetsuit off, and then started to make my way over to Tamara.
Once they got the news that Patrick was there with the car ready, they came over with the like big beach rescue lifeguard truck and put me in the front seat, and I got a special ride off the sand to Patrick to go to the hospital from there.
Straight from there we went to the hospital, right to emergency, and checked in, and they were able to admit us pretty quick. So they brought Tamara in, sat her down, looked at her cut, started cleaning the cut, doing different movements to make sure that her tendons and ligaments, she still had mobility in her thumb, and nothing was cut in there.
They were about to stitch me up, and then they called in the senior doctor who was doing a little more manipulation, was really like digging in there to make sure there was like nothing stuck in there, or like really looking and seeing everything. And at that point it was like, I was numb, so I couldn't feel it, but it was like I could feel blood like dripping. Like it just felt like he'd been really poking, and the doctors kept looking at me like, can you feel it? Are you okay?
While they were doing this and while they were cleaning Tamara's wound, it was quite painful. So I was holding her hand, and I was kind of there seeing things. And yeah, I started to feel a little weird. So I sat down in the chair and had some water.
Next thing we know, Patrick is still, I think, holding his water at this point, and just like has fully passed out. And we're like, I was saying, Patrick, nothing. the doctor comes over, Patrick, he's like shaking him, trying to get him to like wake up. And then suddenly he kind of wakes up and is like, what just happened?
Yeah, from there was like a couple doctors that came in and they put me in a gown, like a patient gown, and they
took him away in a wheelchair.
Yeah, I was kind of coming in and out, and I could just hear the doctors kind of like, they rolled me to another room, they put me in this little wheelchair, and at some point I felt it coming on again, and the doctors were in another room, so I started knocking on the door because I felt like I was gonna faint again in this chair. And they started to talk to each other. They're like, oh, we don't have any rooms available or any beds available right now. And they eventually put me in the plaster room where they put casts on people. So they rolled me into there and they laid me down, or just kind of let me rest, because apparently what I had, I don't know what the name of it is, but basically when you experience something you're uncomfortable with, you pass out. There's a specific name for it. Vasovagal syncope.
Sight of blood or intense emotion or uncomfortable.
It was so bizarre. I've never had it happen before. And yeah, from there it was kind of funny because the doctors would come back, like specialists, to check in on Tamara, and they would have to ask which one's the patient, because I had the bed in the gown and I was able to have orange juice.
He was like getting all the treatment.
Yeah.
And I was just waiting around
with her hands still cut open, wondering if they're gonna take her to the surgery hall.
I ended up getting in the x-ray, everything looked fine. People from, like, they thought they were gonna have to do like a proper surgery, put me under and possibly an overnight stay. And then the one bone doctor came and took one last look, and they said, you know, we could put you under and do the stitches like in like a very clean like surgical environment, or this doctor who'd been working with us can do it for you just like in a room as clean as they could possibly do it, pretty much the same, just a little bit more like clean in the surgery room. And so we just didn't want to stay any longer at the hospital. I just wanted to get stitched up and have that over with. So I went with the doctor just doing it himself. I ended up getting 9 stitches, and it was kind of like a V shape. It's just like a triangular flap of skin that kind of came up, so they had to put it back down and stitch it up. So my first time getting stitches, and I almost made it into the double digits.
Yeah.
It's kind of a bummer because obviously I have stitches, I have this bandage on, I can't get it wet, so I have to put a bag on when I shower. Patrick has to help me put my hair in a ponytail, all these things that I wish I could just do on my own, obviously. And I can't go surfing, and it's too bad because we're in the surfiest places right now. But all in all, at least there's no bone like breakage, no tendon damage, and so far it's just healing up really well.
And in case anyone's wondering, yes, I'm okay. I survived.
Oh man, and when he passed out, I was like laughing, and I was trying not to because I didn't want to be a jerk, but it was just so funny because here I was the patient, he was helping, he was the hero, and then boom, he's fainted and he's out, and he gets like, yeah, full, like we had to pay his hospital bill too. We had quite the adventure in our first visit to the hospital, double hospital admittance.
Yeah.
Still smiling.
So we just got back from the hospital. We're wearing a surf poncho and just basically what we had on the beach like 5 hours ago, 6 hours ago.
Yeah.
So yeah, we just had some...
What a day.
Some guilty McDonald's. And are gonna make it back to our campground for the evening and just rest.
Yeah. What are you doing?
Tamara's gotta have a shower because she's stanky. First shower after her stitches, so she has to keep it dry, and we are taping up her arm with a garbage bag.
Can't use my hand, so Patrick's helping me get my hair out of my face.
Almost done. There you go.
My hair is really naughty also because I haven't had a chance to brush it.